Exactly 6 minutes past the top of the hour. You're right on time for our last conversation this Tuesday morning. On our health segment, we look at cerebral palsy. Knowing fully well that March is the CP Awareness Month, we look at some of those interventions made so far, the management therein as far as this condition is concerned, and just what loopholes still underline when it comes to treatment, diagnosis, and management of cerebral palsy. For the next 45 minutes, we'll look at this and so much more. I have created first time with Abbott Okello to my far right, who is a caregiver and also a parent to a child with cerebral palsy. Right next to him is Nicholas Ndambuki. We describe him as a success story. And right next to me is Pinto Otieno, the chairman CPSK, that is Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya, also a CP parent. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let me just start with you, Chairman. We are looking at the CPSK, which was established in 1994. Just from what you know, walk me through why this society was established, and just what was the whole idea behind having Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya.
Thank you very much, Doreen. If we talk of CP, the short form of cerebral palsy, because the name is a bit long.
Yeah.
And as a society, we've been here for the last 27 years. It started in the year 1994 as a support group for parents who are committed in improving the plight of the children. These children were living with CP. And we came up with a support group to assist mostly those who cannot afford the medication, those who cannot afford the mobility, and as a society, as a group, as a CP family.
Yes.
In fact, we will call ourselves a family because we know each other, and most of them, we have a common problem. That's the CP.
Okay.
So CP has been there, it's living with us, but it's not channeled, it's not known as the other
conditions, maybe?
Other conditions, yeah,
Right,
if we express it that way.
Okay, well said. But when you look at the 28 years, and just going from what Chairman is saying, that CP is here with us, we live with it, but then it's not known so much so. So then just from your perspective, almost like 28 years later, as far as the society is concerned, how would you track the progress?
Basically, I'm a caregiver. So from what I've had since I started bringing my boy to the Cerebral Palsy Society of Kenya, is there's been tremendous progress in terms of creating awareness. There's also been tremendous what you'd call progress in terms of the care that the children are given. Today at the society, as I take my son, I'm a guardian to the boy. As I take the boy, I see a lot of information around CP that otherwise probably wasn't there 27 years ago, 28 years ago. So with organizations like CP, a lot of awareness has been created around CP. So it's no longer alien as it used to be then. Although, of course, there's still issues of stigmatization and that kind of thing.
And we'll talk about that in a short while, especially when we talk about stigmatization, that of course tied with awareness. But let me come to you, Nicholas. You are a success story. You have lived with this condition since childhood, I should say. As far as creation of awareness is concerned, from where you sit, do you think enough is being done?
Some more, but for the organization of CP, the best at least to reach out to the children who are affected. But you find the number of children is bigger, so they cannot use to all children, but they are trying the best what they can do, and least to reach out to the children affected with cerebral palsy.
Okay, I hear you. So clearly you're saying that something is being done. They're at least trying, but definitely we need to do more. We shall also talk about what more entails and what does more mean. But before then, let's just also come back. Let's backtrace a bit and begin from the nitty-gritties. We talk about cerebral palsy. First of all, what kind of condition is this? When someone says CP, what are we talking about, Chairman?
Doreen, CP is a developmental condition. It's normally caused at the birth level due to lack of enough oxygen in the brain. And at the earlier, it is noted is supposed to be intervened at that level. But normally it takes time for you to notice that a child has a CP. It even takes 6 months or 1 year before you realize the child is not responding like other children. This at times is also caused by delayed birth, traumatized parents. So when the kid lacks oxygen, the brain, the doctors can explain better, but the brain, there's a brain damage. So it takes time to bring up this kid, tell him the way, show him the way, and he has to know the world through orientation, exercise, and other intervention, which we later learn in our talk today. But for now, it's majorly it's a brain damage. And normally the child takes time to grow, because it is even being said that when the child, like my son Kerry, is 4 years, and you reduce the years by 2 years, he acts like a 2 years boy, because you need to tell him to imitate most of the things, and they also lack speech therapy. I mean, they lack speech. Their speech cannot come out. So when the brain is damaged, it affects both the limbs, the speech, and even the mobility of this child is affected. And so far, the rest, if I go into details, it's more the doctor's window. Yeah,
but also we'll come back and for you to tell us how, your story was like, because you're saying that your son also has, CP. So then how did this sort of like happen? Perhaps you might just want to tell us a bit about that. But we're hearing a lot of, it's a condition from birth. And also this largely does emanate from negligence, I should say, in one way or the other. You are equally a CP parent aboard. So then how did this come about, and how old is your child?
Apparently my story is a bit different.
Okay.
I'm a guardian to a CP child.
All right.
This child is a boy that we got in a children's home. He had been abandoned. He was rescued, taken to a children's home. And basically the children's home didn't know what to do until a friend of mine walked in and realized that the child had a condition. And that is how we ended up co-parenting, if you would. So then we became the parents to this child. He's lucky he has like 5 parents around him. That is me and, of course, the owner of the children's home, and then the rest of us. So in our case, the child was abandoned. So when we realized that the children's home didn't basically know what to do, and we stepped in. Then we made sure that we now started seeking information, and that is how we ended up at CPSK.
Okay.
The boy is now 4 years old. Initially, when we took him there, he couldn't, respond in most ways. But now he responds. I mean, he can hear. He can basically, react to many things. If you call him, he can now respond. He is trying to sit out of the therapy that he receives. He's even trying, he's now kicking his legs, things that originally the boy wasn't doing.
Okay.
So therapy has been a lot of help for us. Yeah.
So you're saying with this condition, there's no treatment, it's just therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
And the earlier you diagnose it, also the better.
True. With CP, there's no treatment as such. What happens is you take a child through the therapeutical sessions.
Okay.
As you will hear as we continue,
Yes.
Without giving these children, taking them through therapy, then their lifespan then is reduced in so many ways. Yeah.
Nicholas, you also work as a volunteer at CPSK, and we can confidently say that you are a success story. So just talk to us about how this support was like, because I'm hearing that it can be treated, you have to manage it, so it simply means that you really need to be having concrete support system to do this. How was your support system like?
So,
It's good.
for me, my parents, they discovered us. So they took the patient
Okay.
by taking me to the therapy session, and later there were some people from another organization who are working around the village. So they came and they talked to my parents, and they were supporting
Okay.
children who are living not only with cerebral palsy but with other condition of disability. So
Okay.
they took me and they really helped me by giving me therapy, and also they were giving some education,
Okay.
basic education on children,
All right.
on how they can read, how they can do some activities by their own, and later they came
Okay.
to discover I have achieved more. So they recommended my parents that I should be taken to normal school,
All right.
so that I will be able to learn speech and also to achieve more.
Okay.
So they advised my parents to take me into a normal school where I read, and I started my education as a child who was cerebral palsy.
I hear you. How early was this that you're saying that your parents did discover early? Might you be knowing the age?
Yeah, for me, after my birth, okay, before my body during the process.
Yeah.
My giving birth took a long process. So after my mom giving birth to me, I didn't cry. So that one affected me, and which led to cerebral palsy.
Okay.
But thanks to God, the doctors who are taking care of my mom, they discover and they came and they told my mother that the child is okay, because after that they took me to nursery.
All right.
So that they see on how we progress.
Okay.
Then after a week is when I cried. Yeah, is when I cried. Then they came and told my mother the child is okay, but he is affected by cerebral palsy.
Okay.
But immediately
Yeah.
they took a precaution of taking it to the doctor.
All right.
So they advised my mom to take me to the therapy at
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Nicholas. I mean, you listened to his story, Pinto, and this is a case of really early diagnosis, quite early. Nicholas says that he did cry after 1 week. Normally, when a child is born, immediately they would produce a son, but for his case, it was after a whole week. And that was a time where the nurses did advise the mother, and they'd say, yes, the child is okay, but he's affected with cerebral palsy. You also earlier did say that it's a bit difficult to diagnose early. So then I would want to ask, why is it difficult, and just how early is early? Pinto.
Yeah. Much of cerebral palsy issues, we have experience. We only have experience. We only mention the experience.
Yes.
From what we've learned is that at the moment the child is born and this child doesn't cry, there's a problem. There's a problem at that level. And most cases, they result to CP. Apart from the other long-term and developmental problems.
Yeah.
So for you to understand CP, or because we are not doctors, but we are just parents.
From your experience.
From my experience, I believe that any mother who gives birth to a child and doesn't cry, a follow-up has to be made for first and early intervention. And after that one is when we as CPSK come in. That is, after the child has been diagnosed, you've known that he has CP, normally there is no treatment. Immediate treatment is, we don't have immediate treatment for CP.
Yeah. Yes.
So we pick the child from, the parents, they are normally given a therapy session in the government institutions. If because I don't want to speak so much about the CP is into the details. But at the moment the child doesn't cry, there's a problem.
So that's the first thing
to know. Then make a follow-up. After making a follow-up, then from there you realize the child is either autistic or the child is either CP, because it matures with the other nerves problems.
Okay.
So, as a cerebral month, we want parents, those who have these kids, because in most situations they don't even come out after the child has been diagnosed CP. They don't come out, they don't expose their children, they don't want to bring them for rehabilitation, and in most occasions you'll find that these children are left at home, basically not to be seen, not to be heard, and no alternative. But as an awareness month, we as a fraternity of CP, we want all those people with the CP siblings, CP children, to come out aggressively and let it be known that CP is there, is like any other condition. It is managed, and from Nicola's story, Nicholas is one of them, but we have several who have undergone the same series of treatment, and they have made it in life. We have, and they are there, and as you can see, in our society, in our CP family, we've been there for 27 years to support each other. And apart from supporting each other, the CP, we also take into consideration of the caregivers. Mr. Abotia will explain some of the aspect they undergo within the CP, because these CP parents, they also, and the children, they face social discrimination. At every point, the first thing is attitude for the CP child. But we are coming out to tell the whole world that CP is with us, and as a society and as a CP group, we wish that they come out and we share the long journey to solve the CP problem, because in the outcome they have to live.
Yes, I hear you.
Thank you.
So just hold it there. I want us to take a very quick breather, but when we circle back, we also look at basically what you're doing as a caregiver. As a caregiver, I understand that also there's a lot that goes into that. Just what Chairman is talking about, issues of stigmatization is also coming into the fore. And again, aside from just a child not crying, what other symptoms perhaps could a parent, a mother, a father need to be looking into, so that then this can also aid with early diagnosis. So we come back and look at that and so much more. Time for that breather. We'll circle back with plenty more of this conversation. Stay with us. We continue our pace with the day's conversation, still looking at cerebral palsy, this being the CP Awareness Month. I'm still holding court with Abot Okello, who is a caregiver and also a guardian to a child with CP. Still Nicholas Ndambuki, a success story, and also Pinto Otieno, who's a chairman, CPSK, and also a CP parent. I just picked up with you about, we did talk about prolonged labor as one of the major reasons, if not the reasons, for children living CP to have this condition. But really, from your perspective, what would lead to, this kind of instances and circumstances? Is it just a question of negligence? And why I ask is because I'm trying to look at how we can sort of avoid this, because you realize if it's a matter of negligence, then it's something we can deal with, to just have reduced numbers of children or adults living with cerebral palsy.
Thank you, Doreen. I think there are a lot of factors that would lead to this kind of condition.
Okay.
As you say, and most of it is actually avoidable. When you look at long delays in making decisions, especially when a lady is or a woman is in labor, which leads to this kind of conditions. This is something that can be done, can be avoided through proper training, where probably the medical practitioners are more informed about what delays can cause. And I'm sure probably they see this every other day. So the government, through the Ministry of Health, needs to stress upon inculcating this in our medical professionals, what delays can do. You had earlier on asked about the symptoms that a parent can check to detect early.
Yes.
One of those for me is, as has been pointed out previously, a child not crying immediately, because there is a specific period within which a child needs to cry after birth. There is also the aspect where a child is not responding normally. You know, if a child does not respond normally, then there is a problem, you know. And doctors and medical practitioners can tell this within a specific period of time. Of course, when the child is now, a few weeks or a few...
Just allow me to butt in.
Yep.
When you say normally, just for purposes of context, and again, also borrowing from experience and what you've seen, what are we talking about as far as responding normally is concerned, just away from crying?
You know, basically, there are those things that the doctor would normally check, you know, on a normal birth, that they would use as parameters to gauge whether a child is okay, you know, and they would know better. Apart from just crying, probably the movement of the eyes or something of the sort, responding to various things that they usually use as parameters to check if the child is normal. Of course, then, if there's been delayed birth and a child probably is not responding normally, then I'm sure they would then want to address certain issues, or they would then have to think of certain issues. Has he, for example, is he having enough oxygen flowing to the brain? The doctors can always tell. As regards to the period between which the lady went into labor and when they gave birth. And basically just those normal parameters that they would check. If you allow me to continue, I would also say that one thing that a parent can check as the child grows up is then you need to look at how does the child respond in terms of limbs movement, you know. A child with CP mostly would be what you would call passive in terms of movement. You know, they don't move their limbs as much as they would. They don't play as much as they're supposed to do. So that would point you to a fact that there's a problem. These are things that mothers usually, you know, mothers play with kids. Parents basically would play with kids and expect them to respond in a certain way.
Might you be knowing the duration, also just as a caregiver, again, from experience as well, that you say that maybe things like the child is not playing as is, not the limbs, they're not moving, maybe the eyes. Is there a specific time frame that a mother or a father needs to be looking at to when you're seeing some of these things, or you just need to be seeing them?
You know, most CP cases are discovered over a period of time. Let's say on a normal basis, a parent would discover this within, 6 months, let's say that. So within 6 months, you know, a child usually responds in a certain way. If you put them somewhere, probably at that point they are turning, or when they wake up, they try to throw their legs and whatever. So if this is not happening, then you know that something is not right, you know. So it's hard sometimes to detect these kind of things, but normally, if you've had children before and then you're having this other child that is not responding as the other ones responded, then automatically you would be worried as a parent. You know, and mothers know. Fathers a bit, but because mothers spend time with kids, they would pick up, you know, one or two things that then they can raise with the medical practitioners.
All right, I hear you. So are there any other symptoms?
Yes, there are. I would say if the child is, after a period of time, we all know that after a period of time, children are supposed to mumble words, for example. If they are not mumbling these words, then you would be worried. If they are, for example, the facial expression is just blank, you know, there is a way that you can use your hands or whatever to try and prompt a child to respond to eye contact. If then they are not responding to anything when you're trying to prompt them, then you'd also be worried. Then, of course, there is the aspect of the child getting to an age where they can walk and they are unable to even sit down, you know, completely they can't sit. If you put them in a sitting position, they fall. That is one of those pointers. But ideally, most parents are usually, for lack of information, especially in the rural areas and the villages, they usually don't know. So the medical practitioners then should be the ones to guide. Just like Nicholas' mom was guided by the medical practitioners that we think your child has a condition, then the medical practitioners with proper follow-up should be able to guide.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so then when you talk about stigma, Nicholas, as one living with this condition, because you're realizing this is one of those biggest impediments, even as far as getting through this condition is concerned and creating awareness and so much more. How has it been for you just living with it up until adulthood? Because you also did say that you went to a normal school at some point, you know, just with different persons, different people. Excuse me. How was it for you?
Okay, for me, that challenges are there because people will mock you. They start to say, you can do like this. But for me, I knew my condition. So when I knew I used to express myself on how I am and to make people know about the condition. And after they know they accept you and they teach you as a normal human, though it is not easy because people will speak bad things about you. You see, for me, when I was walking, you may see I'm a drug but but I am not drunk. It is the condition. Which so in the society, when I am walking around you meet some people and they tell you, talk about you, but you see, for them, they do not know. So, if they do not know, you just leave them.
Thank you, Nicholas. I mean, when you listen to that, Pinto, you can just imagine this is someone who would say you are either drunkard, you are mad, and some may be saying it subconsciously, not even knowing that this is actually a condition that exists, and some might even be knowing, but just sometimes out of spite, they want to say that, or they would say that. At CPSK, what is being done as far as sensitization in regards to stigmatization is concerned?
Thank you, Doreen. The CPSK Center we walk along journey. We do the advocacy. We empower the mothers. We empowering, that is social economic empowerment to the ladies.
Yes.
And even the upcoming CP children, we are in a program whereby we are requesting for the volunteers, the deaf, those people who teach about
Speech
therapists, so that these kids might be able to express themselves or using hand signals or verbally, the way Nicholas is doing it. We are still on that program. We are requesting government. We wrote a letter to Kise. I don't know if it is there. But so that is to enable this child talk when he's amongst the other children and express himself. He needs to talk. He needs to express what he wants. Then for stigmatization, it is both this child amongst the other children and even the parent. Even the parent, the moment you step in with your child, already the surrounding changes and the attitude. So we only teach them to be strong and accept. Because when you leave them at any level, that is, if you don't come together and share your own experience, you'll never be part of the CP family. CP family is like any other group, like the albinism, other developmental situations. So we as a society, is only that we try as much as we can as a CP, but we face issues, we face problems because we lack resource mobilizations by virtue that we are a charitable organization, and we depend on our own members to contribute what we have. Corporate areas like the insurances, thanks to Minet. Then we have other religious institutions, we have education institutions, and even individuals who come in after being in that situation and seeing what is happening. What we are trying to do, we are trying to expose out this stigma. So we try as much as we can. Currently, we are looking for any sponsor or any organization which can assist with the vehicle for our mobility, for the outreach CP children, because most of them...
How can they reach you, for those who might be watching and they would want to be part of the course?
Is
there a contact, maybe?
There's a contact.
You can just mention it.
www.cpsk.or.ke or info@cpsk.or.ke. So, I don't know if... Can I give the number?
Yes.
Our number is 07088 29 I repeat, 07088 29 681. That's our number. And
this is how they can even contribute. One or the other. For anyone who's watching,
anybody, any corporate, any government institution, though we are being assisted by the National Council for Population, that's the government side. In case we have any problem, we still run to them. They are the body of people with disability. They normally assist, but we are charitable and we depend on donors and sponsors only. Yes.
I hear you.
So,
well said. I hope there's someone who's watching, because I mean, with this condition, you can imagine even the cost of therapy, not even quite expensive. And here we are saying it's not treatable. So the moment that child is diagnosed with it, they live with it up until their last day on earth. But then, talk to me about caregiving. What does it entail? How do you go about it? I want to imagine it's one of those easy things to do.
Caregiving is quite a challenge. I'll tell you. You know, basically you find that in some families, one parent, if both parents are there, one parent would literally have to drop out or either of work or whatever business they are doing to take care of a CP child. It's a full-time job. You don't need anything else. Because you would find that this is a child who is unable to do anything on their own. So you must adhere to, one, the times when they have to take their medicines. You also must adhere to nutritional support that has been prescribed by the nutritionists. Basically, you know, you need to give them food on time, you know. It's not easy. If, for example, they have grown up to a certain level, then you must assist them into washrooms and places like that. If you're taking them to schools, then basically, you know, they cannot use your normal transport, the normal public transport, or probably the normal buses. Then, as a parent, you must make sure that you take your child to school and then pick them up. Caregiving, apart from just that, there is an aspect of medicine. You know, the medicines are very expensive. We use medicines like Lactimol, Epilim, you know, and of course, you know, you then require certain supplements for the child. So I would tell you that as a caregiver, you undergo a lot of things. Apart from just that, then there is the issue of stigmatization, as they've pointed out.
Yeah.
You know, you end up dealing with a lot of things, you know. Sometimes, you know, we are Africans, people end up saying, you know, they don't want to associate with you. You walk into a room with your child, everybody feels this is not the place to be, you know.
And I can see Peter agreeing, this is part of the things that,
you can no longer go to family functions as you used to, you know, because the stigmatization mostly even begins with your own family. That is the funny bit. They end up thinking that something is seriously wrong with you or whatever. So it's usually something that really is a problem. Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, we just have like 3 minutes to sit ground, and I want to give Nicholas Ndambuki the last word in this conversation. What is it that you'd want parents to know, parents who have children with cerebral palsy, or even these children who've grown into adulthood? What would you like to tell them as a success story?
For the parents who have children with they should accept the child, because this child is normal like any other child. Because if you give him or her full support, he can achieve more. Just like my parents did to me. They have been there for me, giving me full support, physically, spiritually, and also supporting me in academic. So they should accept the child and to make the child know of who is she or who is he. Because when the child accept his condition, he will be able to fit in the society. Yeah, but if the child has the attitude of neglecting herself or himself to the people, he will not be able to explore more.
Okay,
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nicholas.
Yeah.
The clarion call is support, and acceptance. Is the only way we can be able to deal with this. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Highly appreciate your valuable inputs into this conversation. And the awareness does continue the entire month, is it?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. I have been speaking to about Okello to my far right, who is a caregiver and also a guardian to a child with CP, that is cerebral palsy. Right next to him is Nicholas Ndambuki, who is a success story, and you've had his story throughout this entire conversation. Right next to me has been Pinto Otieno, the chairman, CPSK, and also a cerebral palsy parent. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately good morning Kenya from me and on behalf of the entire team. Asante sana, till tomorrow, good morning.